Good evening. Glad to have you join me on this presentation called Family Stress to Family Best. I know that during this time of quarantine, there are many people out there who are struggling and they're trying to figure out how to better connect in their families to reduce the stress that's going on and during this time of quarantine. And so I'm hoping that this presentation will help you throughout that period. I'll share a desktop, the slide presentation here in just a moment. But I just wanted to make sure that one of the things I got into a few years ago, and I've always been kind of concerned with, is families that are involved in having stressful situations. I've tried to help several families through my life and want to continue to do that. One of the things that I've been discussing with different individuals through conference calls and other Zoom presentations that I've done or participated in is the fact that during this quarantine, the rates of domestic issues and situations that even include domestic violence, the rates of abuse of young people have increased. And really what's causing that we've talked about in the groups I've been involved in, one of the things that's contributing to that is the stress levels that people are experiencing. Let's face it, we've all been involved and brought into these situations where our lives are a little bit, we're feeling cooped up. We're getting a lot of cabin fever, and cabin fever being, with people we love, but at the same time, it kind of stresses us out being around each other so much. We have to remember that even Jesus himself, if you're a person of faith, you believe in Jesus, and if you're not, that's okay. We can discuss that at a different time. But even Jesus took time out for himself. He would multiple times throughout scripture, you find that he's spending time on the mountain to pray. He's spending time in privacy to pray. He's spending time alone. And so he has to de-stress and to regroup and make sure that he can deal with the things that are coming on him in the future. So it's my hope that through this presentation, I can help you with just a few short things, a few suggestions. I'll share with you my contact information so that you can reach out to me at any time through email. I'm usually hanging around on Facebook. You can go to Shepherd to Leadership as my Facebook page for leadership presentations and leadership information. And I can help you as a family. I can help you as an individual to be a better leader, a better father, a better mother. And young people that are out there, I can help you be a better young person, be a better leader around those people that you're around, and help you touch into those gifts that are there with you. So please join me in this presentation, and I really hope and pray that it helps you as we go through these things to be able to be, as it says, family best. Not a family that's stressed, or at least not as stressed as you are now, but to be a family that is blessed as well. As I said, this presentation is called Family Stress to Family Best. It's a presentation to help you to connect to your child's giftedness, because we need to be able to de-stress our homes, and many times the stress levels are based on just trying to find that sweet spot to connect with one another, and especially with our children, because let's face it, they're changing each and every day, not just physically, but mentally. And as they change, their things that are gifted, their strengths, their weaknesses, the things they struggle with, they continue to change with them. So, as we try to look at these things and we want to make sure that we connect with them, let's try to make sure that we can connect to that giftedness, and hopefully it'll be de-stressing our homes. Some of my contact information, I just want to share with you a few minutes. Shepherd Squared Leadership, or shepherd2leadership@gmail.com. My phone number, and recently I became a certified parenting and family coach with the John Maxwell team. So I have a lot of other tools and everything at my disposal to try to help you and your family to be better, to overcome some of the difficulties, to maybe you're not having a whole lot of struggles, but you just like to have it be better. I'd like to be able to help you with that, to go beyond this presentation that we're going to do here at this time. Families are like, if you're like me, what's going on in homes and of my home and other families and their homes is we want a picture like this of everybody who's happy. This is the ideal situation. So we want our families to be happy. We want them to be stress-free. But, when I think about those things and I think of the reality too, this picture is generally not what's really going on. This picture is more like what's really happening. You're struggling with children who want to play, with struggling who are high energy, struggling with children who are have strong wills and strong personalities. And instead of your family being that happy picture, it becomes that picture of stress. Your levels are up, the learning environment has changed, your children are not in the schoolroom, they're in your living room or they're in your dining room, and they're trying to learn what they can before the school year is out so they'll be better prepared for the year to come. So think about those things as it'd be the perfect time to think about those things and think about your story and the things that you struggle with as an individual. And so as we look through this process, what we want to do is look at some strengths, recognize some behavior characteristics that are in your children. And as we look at those characteristics, remember there are some that are in their areas of strength. There are some that are in their areas of weakness. And I believe that if we focus on their areas of strength, we'll have a much more successful outcome with that child. Sometimes we try to put our children in a box that's really not their strength, but their weakness. And if we try to do that, they may eventually come around and do those things, but that's really not something they're going to enjoy doing because it's not in their strength zone. And it's not something they're going to be super successful at. And what we'd like to build into our children is a win. Be it a small win, we still want to embed those things into our children and try to help them so that we don't continue to have pressure points that child struggles with. And let's face it, if that child is struggling with a pressure point, you're going to struggle with it too, because they're going to admit something so small, something so young can impose a pressure point on you that can be a valve that'll pop off. And if that valve pops without being relieved like it should, then the outcome is not positive. And that's what we want to do. And the outcome is much less positive, it's much more stressful. And so we want to try to use statements with our children to evoke the behaviors and the results that we want to have happen. If your child has a behavior that is, they display that they're a born leader, some of these characteristics they're a born leader, they're dynamic, they're very decisive. Your child is very goal-oriented, or your child continues to seek practical solutions. They're an activator. They're a child who leads and organizes, and when it comes to an emergency situation, they're the child that they excel. They could be very young, they could be teenagers, they could be college children, college young people. It really doesn't matter, because they are the child. If they display these behaviors, as you look at your children, think about them and try to look at what they naturally display. Don't try to force your child into these behaviors and say, oh yeah, my child is a born leader, when they're not. And they're dynamic, but when they're not. Understand what their natural tendencies are and their natural strengths are. And when we do that, then we can also look at the things that are stress signals. Things that tell us that child who has those natural behaviors is really not in their strength zone. And when you see that, you'll see that they're very resistant. These children in these behaviors, they are strong-willed, they are rebellious, they're angry, they are demanding, and they become very controlling. And when you see these things in our children, their stress level is up, but also as us as parents, grandparents like myself. You could be an aunt, an uncle, you could fit any role in this relationship with this child. And when you see this stress signals going up, then those are the flags. Those are the things to tell you that child is probably not operating inside their strength zone. And so we need to be able to look at them. How do you motivate a child like that? That's really the key as we look at these different characteristics of these children, is how do you motivate them? Well, in the case of this child with a strong personality, you try to give them an opportunity to be in charge of something. Give them a task, give them a job, give them a responsibility that allows them to be in charge. It may be something as simple as The dog needs to be fed. How do you want to see to it that gets taken care of? Make sure that they're in charge of that. Of course, they have to clean their, other household chores and responsibilities that are there, but give them an opportunity to show that strength, to show that they can be in charge. And then when you want to connect to their giftedness, kind of the encouraging words, encouraging statements to give them is to tell them, hey, I like that you're confident in yourself. I like that you set your mind to something and you go after it. I like that you are committed and you are decisive about the things that you do. You give them encouraging statements that reinforce the positive behaviors that you see. It's so much easier to say, why didn't you do this way? Why didn't you do it that way? But instead, encourage those positive behaviors that you see in that child and try to work with them and motivate them, connect to their giftedness, which becomes, is connecting to their strength zone, which and also is another way of putting it is it connects to their comfort zone. That's their lane they run in. And when we connect to those things, then we can make sure that we have a positive outcome with that child. Another personality that you'll deal with in your children, and each child, of course, is different. So they can't all be the same as the first child we're looking at, or this child, or any of the other two that we're going to look at, but they all have different behaviors. And if your child exhibits these behaviors, they're outgoing, they volunteer for jobs, they volunteer for things to do, they make friends very easy. You have a child who is very emotional. You have children that are very inspirational. They're very high energy. They're creative. They're talkative. I can think of children I've known, my own children, sometimes they won't quit talking. But we want to look at those behaviors. We want to try to think about those behaviors and think about ways that this is your child's giftedness. This is the things that they will exhibit because these are the things that are their strengths. And when you look at their strengths and you look at how they display these things, we can know that there's going to be stress. When we try to push them out of that box, we try to push them out of that strength zone, then we're going to see things that are outside of that, and you're going to see stress signals. You're going to see things that make them a little more active. They're going to be fidgety. They're going to be, you're going to notice that they're jumpy. They become impatient. They can't seem to be patient with people that are around them. They get loud. They seek attention, and they don't care if that attention is negative. And then they are big emotional displays. These emotional explosions, it might be another way to look at it, because they just seem to have this, or another way of calling it, a meltdown. And when they display these meltdowns, that's a stress signal, because they're not in their giftedness, they're not working in their comfort zone, they're not in their strength zone, and they display these stress signals. How do you motivate a child like that? Well, one, give them an opportunity to socialize and to talk. These children are very social. When they have these behaviors, they want to socialize and they want to talk. Set aside time for them to socialize with others of their peer group. Set aside a time they socialize with you, and they get a chance to just talk to you. And when you connect with their giftedness, look at their their strengths. Look how they interact with other people in their peer group, and compliment them with statements like, I like that you're fun to be with. Your friends seem to find you enjoyable to be with, and I like that you're fun for them to be with. I like that you're a friendly person, that you like being around people. I like your enthusiasm, because that enthusiasm is contagious. It's the thing that, we heard, and I've heard it discussed this morning, is that misery loves company. Well, not only does misery love company, but joy and enthusiasm loves company as well. And it becomes contagious to those people around you. If you allow enthusiasm to take hold, enthusiasm becomes the dominant characteristic of the group. If you let misery take hold, misery becomes that dominance. We would much rather have them be enthusiastic, be in their strength zone, not stressed out, not displaying so many negative behaviors because they're not in their gifted zone and they're not working in their strength zone. Also, the next one we want to talk about is children exhibit these behaviors are easygoing. Your child is well balanced, quiet but witty. Child is agreeable. Child is a good listener, helps and looks out for others. They display the characteristics of being consistent, being reliable and dependable. They are that child that you can rely on, and if you give them something to do, they do it. They're dependable. When you give them the responsibility, they fulfill that responsibility. And so those children are that exhibit these behaviors, but they also have stress signals. When they're outside of their giftedness, when they're outside of their strength zone, they have these stress signals. They become submissive or stubborn. They depend, and it depends on the threat to their security. They want a secure environment. And if they don't get it, they're going to be either submit to it or they're going to be stubborn about it. And there's going to be a stress point as a result of that. They will reach out for relationships that are stronger than the relationships they currently have. And so they will reach out, and sometimes those relationships may not be beneficial to them, but it's a stronger relationship than the one they're currently in. Plays more into their giftedness zone. And they go out of their way to keep the peace. They will submit. We all have a fight or flight instinct within us. These young people, adults too, will, instead of fighting, they'll just submit. And as they're in these stress signals, that they'll be able to go through those things, and those things will show when you see these stress signals, you know that child is not in their strength zone. That child is not playing to their giftedness. And so they start displaying these things. How do you motivate a child like that? Well, you need to emphasize you need their help and give them a boost of confidence by ensuring that they have what they need to succeed. Try to motivate them with understanding that all the tools they need to succeed in life, they possess. All the tools they need in life to be successful, if they struggle with them, you're there to supplement them. You're there to help them with those tools. But that they have those tools, that they need, what they need to succeed is at their disposal. No matter where it comes from, no matter what it is, they're able to take care of it. And then when you want to connect to their giftedness, show things and say things to them like, I like that you're a caring person. I like that you try to and get along with others. You don't just try to do it, but you do it. I like that you're a compassionate individual. Connect with their giftedness, encourage that giftedness, help to strengthen that giftedness in them, to help keep them in that zone so that you won't see those stress signals because they're right where they need to be. And when we can do those things, we help reduce our stress levels as well. The last one is talk about and think about is look at the child who has these behavior characteristics where they're both analytical and logical, that they're very neat and they're organized, that they're very creative. Sometimes those first two, I think of people that we tend to tag them or label them as OCD. But it's a behavior. It's a natural behavior. It's part of a natural giftedness to many people. And that doesn't involve some kind of diagnosis from a mental health professional. But they're analytical and logical naturally. They're neat and they're organized. They're creative. They're conscientious. They seek perfection. They're detail oriented. They're deep thinkers. And they easily see a problem or an error. And I think also they see this problem and the error, and they see a solution to that problem or that error as well. And so they display these behaviors, and we need to think about, is my child displaying these behaviors? If so, and if I want to try to connect with them, then I need to look and see where they have those behaviors and try to help them and try to play to their giftedness. But they're going to have stress signals as well when they're outside of that giftedness. They're going to be overly cautious. They're going to be critical. They're going to be pessimistic. They're going to blame others. They're going to become very, very technical because they're outside of their giftedness. When they're being pushed out of that zone, pushed out of that comfort zone in that area, then they start to display these stress signals. And as with the others, when they start displaying these stress signals, they're not the only person stressed out. We as adults are as well. As parents, as teachers, as whatever role we have to play with this child, we start to see and we start to get stressed out as well, because we're involved with them, and we're there to where we can't seem to make that happen. The motivators, give them an opportunity to research and analyze things and to ask questions. Details, information is what they seek. And if you want to help keep them in their giftedness, give them opportunities to find those details, to find that information so that they can process it. They can make sure that it all makes sense, it all adds up. And when you do that, then you're motivating them into their giftedness zone. And you want to connect with statements like, I like how you always try to do your best. I like that you like things to be organized. I like that you listen to what other people say and to feel. And when you look at these things, you can connect with their giftedness to help encourage and strengthen that giftedness area in their lives. And when you can do that, then you can help them to become less stressful, less stressed out, and your family can go from family stressed to family best. I want to help you to unlock your child's potential, because we can set them up for future success, because it's connected to their ability to experience connection and understanding their natural strengths, behavior styles, and motivation. As we try to look at those things and we try to figure out what to do, there's another tool that I can offer you that can help with that, as a student success report that I have access to that I can share with you. If you want more information about that, you can contact me through the information I posted in the beginning of this presentation. But we can look at this. It's a 16-page report that not only gives you, the parent, first it starts with the child, praising them for their information, for their success, and how they can be conditioned and positioned for success. But then it gives you, the parent, information, and part of the report is geared towards you. And then the third part of the report is geared to be presented to the teacher. Right now, you may be the teacher. And if you are, this report is going to help you as you try to overcome the struggle of dealing with this child. And this report is available. I can, it's a report that involves takes about 15 minutes, got about 15 questions. Parents sit with the child while they do that, and to, try to help better understand your child and their strengths. You can email me at shepherdtoleadership@gmail.com if you'd like more information about that. And I can share with you that report. There's a little bit of a cost involved, but we can work that out and make sure that that's involved. It's not a very expensive thing to undertake, to help to understand your child and to be better, at understanding. And as we have information, we can help understand what that child needs. And so we want to be able to, help you, as this report says, and as it's labeled, it's a student success report. And we want to make sure that they're successful. I don't know anybody. As a parent, I wanted my boys to be successful. As a grandparent, I want my grandchildren to be successful. As a person who's worked with young people in church throughout the years, I want those children to be successful, regardless of their circumstance in life, regardless of where they are at that time. I want them to be successful and help to give them the tools that they can use to be successful and go through their lives. Because, see, the end goal is, we don't want to be the family stressed. We want to be the family best. If you have any questions, any comments you'd like to make, something you'd like to share with me, I'd love to hear from you. Please reach out to me, as I said, at shepherdtoleadership@gmail.com. You can also post or questions on Shepherd to Leadership on Facebook, or I'm listed on Facebook also as Charles Shepherd is my private page or my personal page. But I would love to connect with you and try to share with you the things that would help you through this time, and as you are trying to cope here on with all the things that are going on in the world so that you can be involved and be more connected with your children. And, you know, whatever child that comes across your path so that you can help them to be more successful. Hope to hear from you soon. Would love to, you know, help you in any way that I can. Appreciate it very much. Thank you for your time.